Hello, my name is Nohemí Torres and my IB number is 00061110050 and I study at Tecnológico Monterrey, campus Eugenio Garza Sada. The picture that I chose is of apparently a college classroom with many students. It is clearly that there are students, local students and foreign students. There is interracial interaction. People are talking with each other. Apparently they are comfortable. They don't seem to have any problem with each other. And I think they are participating in some kind of oral activity with each other because all the students are talking to each other, like evaluating themselves and so on. The quote that is attached with the picture, it says, "It is time for parents to teach young people early on that in diversity there is beauty and there is strength." And the subject I'm going to relate this picture is on cultural diversity. As I mentioned before, the picture apparently is of a classroom with many interracial students, and they seem very comfortable with each other. So it is clearly that these students, they have been, with interracial interaction since young ages. They don't seem uncomfortable with the idea of spending time with people from other cultures. They seem very used to it, and more enhanced with the subject of cultural diversity. I think that with cultural diversity, tolerance is enhanced. People see the world in a more realistic way. They don't see the world in just one aspect. They see it in a more general aspect. By noticing the different countries and different cultures, they don't see the world just being focused on their own culture. They understand that there are other cultures and that the world it's not the same for everybody. It's different for each person in the world. And seeing the world in a more realistic way and with tolerance being enhanced, many problems can be solved in a more peaceful way. That's just one example. With cultural diversity, the world is seen in a more complete aspect, and a person is more in contact with the world they are living. By understanding that that their culture is not just the center thing, by understanding there are other cultures, many problems can be solutionated in an easiest way. But with cultural diversity, there comes other negative aspects. For example, in the U.S., seen as a target culture in this pitch. The U.S., well, it's a very culturally diverse country. There are people from Mexico, from Colombia, from Venezuela, from Costa Rica, from Germany, and so on and so on. Very different countries. And so it's a very diverse country. Yeah.
Okay, Mimi. You say that you can solve a lot of negative aspects with the cultural diversity or tolerance. Can you mention one?
Yes, for example, war, for example, and which is a very huge example. War happens usually between different countries, and sometimes the big problem between those countries is because of cultural differences. That they don't accept, for example, a country thinks in a certain way about bombs, and a country thinks in a certain way about bombs, different way. And when they accept that they are different and that they think about certain subjects differently, they can, instead of making a war about bombs or so on, about different opinions about it, they can just talk on it. They can understand, I understand that you see, but that your culture sees differently the subject and about me, and they can find a more peaceful solution about it.
What do you think is the best way to introduce a new culture to a person, to someone?
Well, cultural diversity is natural. It's in the world. What is the best way to introduce it? I don't think there is a best way. It just happens because sometimes, people live in different countries. I may be from Mexico, but then I move out to Germany.
But in the school or in home or where do you think?
I think everywhere. I think it's just by, making friendship, for example. By friendship, you meet each other and everything, and by knowing each other, you are introduced by the culture of your friend. So there is not a specific way of how introduce new cultures. I think it's just let it flow, that if meeting new people, becoming friends, and just introduce them your culture, or in business or in school, having a teacher from a different culture. Just a few examples, but there is not just in a specific way. I don't think so.
Can you give me an example where you can see the cultural diversity in your community?
Well, the example that comes to my mind straight on it's school, because in schools there are many foreign students. So in a school, in a classroom, you can have people from the United States, from Canada, from Asia, or so on. So cultural diversity is very enhanced. I think school and student life, it's one of the biggest examples we can find. Other example, if I may mention an extra one, it can be in a company when you're working already. Companies usually work in an international way. So you can meet people from Germany or from Switzerland, so on. So cultural diversity is enhanced, and it's very present on business. So two examples that are very common.
Okay, we have 6 minutes. Do you want another question?
I don't know, you have another question?
Well, no.
Okay, well,
No.
thank you.